So about the Thermosiphon, there you can see some action going on there. So what I was trying to do is to increase the surface area of this tank, because my long-term goal was to design my cooling unit in such a way that the evaporator cools a tank of glycol or methanol or something like that, water solution. And then in order to increase the surface area of that, I want to have a detachable Thermosiphon evaporator. So what this is no moving parts other than the refrigerant itself. We have an evaporator down here, which is just this coil I tore out of a dehumidifier, and I didn't want this much coil. It used to be about this tall, so I ripped it down the middle and did a little bit of surgery here on the U-tubes. There's a line that comes off, there's a glass tube, and it goes into, it's 2 wraps spiraled in and then spiraled back out of copper tubing. Actually it's 5-6 wraps or something, in and then back out, and then it comes back down to the bottom of the evaporator. This thing's charged with some liquid in it, and you can see some of it boiling away there and chugging along. A little bit of a bubble pump. The intention was heat can be absorbed by this coil down here with a fan on it. It will evaporate some of the propane, because all the propane is in there is at saturation. So there's liquid and there's vapor in there at the same time. It all exists at saturation. So if we apply a little bit of heat to the bottom, we should be able to cause some of the liquid to boil a bit, which pushes some liquid up through the top. And this is clamped up here against this stainless steel pan. There's a piece of aluminum plate that's clamping it up against. And that should cause some of those vapor bubbles to condense and then run back down into the liquid. Hasn't been enormously successful. There's definitely some action there, especially when you open the door. It adds a lot of heat to the system. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to make this work very well for an evaporator. For higher temperatures like the condenser, I'd like to apply the same principle, and I don't think it's going to be as difficult to make it work. But on these low temperatures here, especially with a relatively low pressure or temperature differential, say a couple of degrees, it's going to be difficult. So I've messed about with the charge size, putting a lot of liquid in, having, and then relying more on the bubble pumping, the liquid keep churning itself around, and then I've also, vented some off and tried to go with less liquid. And then in addition, there's a pinch down here in the liquid return. The idea there being trying to prevent, vapor pockets from pushing up the opposite direction. I wanted to get a unidirectional flow. So, like I said, I'm going to mess around with it a lot more here in the future. No doubt the thing would work a lot better if the copper was immersed directly in the glycol, but it's impractical to do so. And it's not up against the frost. This was installed before all the frost formed on here, so it should have decent contact up there at the top. But it just hasn't worked out the way I intended. So, it was a fun little project, and it didn't take very long at all to make up. Just a matter of wrapping this coil, and then a little bit of surgery I had to do on this, and then just the hoses and the glass. It's super easy, and it doesn't leak all that much. It holds propane fairly well. I put all that in there more than a day ago, yesterday morning. So kind of fun to watch it dance, but it's just it's unfortunate. So what I'm going to do, since I'm not relying on the Thermosiphon right now, is I'm going to go to a direct evaporator. I'm going to eliminate the tank. Initially, I'm just going to pull the tank off, and I'm just going to use the coil that I have in there and mess about with that a little bit. And then I have planned a plate copper. I'm going to use some sheet copper and bend it up and make some kind of ice cube tray holder. I can't explain it very well, but and that's just going to be a direct evaporator. And then I'll work more on the condenser and some other things, and later on down the road I'm going to go back towards the Thermosiphon and see if I can't make this work. So thanks for watching.